an afternoon by Brian Feeney, his twin brother at the X. Penn comes up with 3 fourth-quarter goals to win the Ivy League championship.
Obviously, tremendous effort to Harvard. Let's kind of tip our hat to them. Magical season. So tough to see it come up empty, but Penn's defense, you know, we talk about it. It obviously gets a lot of hype, and they lived up to that today, Matt.
And the score is 7-5. I mean, after the 4-0 start from Harvard, I think Penn dominated the game in every aspect. Ground balls, goaltending, face-off. They looked more confident on offense. Harvard lost their way. Quakers, they could maybe get a 3 seed, you know, based on being an RPI, the schedule that they played. This is a team that's could surprise some people.
They are going into the postseason on a roll, and they're going in as Ivy League champs while Harvard has to sit around and wait. We will return to Cambridge with more on Coach Murphy's club winning the Ivy League trophy 7-5, the final.
You can go with the flow when it comes to equity investing, or spark a change in your investment approach by adding diversification with an entire sector of the S&P 500, like utilities. XLU combines all the utility components of the S&P 500 into one ETF with liquidity, all-day tradability, and transparency. Ready to add diversification to your equity investments? Before investing, consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Go to sectorspiders.com for a prospectus containing this information. Read it carefully. Visit us at sectorspiders.com.
Come on, squirrels, ball's in. Get the ball. Come on.
Yo, touch the future, baby.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin?
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Daikin?
Daikin, extremely reliable, performance tested.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, super efficient, can save big every month on energy bills.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin, comfort for life.
The Penn Quakers have now won 8 straight games. More importantly, they are now Ivy League champs. They knock off Harvard 7-5, and they wrap up an automatic bid. Coach Murphy likes to say we need to bring the juice. Well, he just got juiced after winning the Ivy League championship. What a moment for this Penn team and these seniors who are now going back to the NCAA tournament. They win it 7-5, and everything, Eamon McEnany along with Ryan Boyle and Matt Ward, and everything was going Harvard's way to start when they jumped out to a 4-0 lead, and Penn really handled things after that.
Stayed the course, continued with that early offense off the transition, was able to capitalize on some of those possessions. Lasco stepped up again. You know, huge weekend for the senior, really leading them offensively.
And for Penn, I think it came down to the Feeney twins. I mean, getting goaltending like that is a luxury most teams don't have. But then when you win that many faceoffs, when it's such a discrepancy, it's very tough to overcome from the opposition.
So Coach Murphy betters his former assistant, and you see the Harvard Crimson head to the locker room. They will have to hold out hope that the selection committee puts him in, but it was a 4th quarter where the offense finally came to life for Penn.
Yeah, you can see here Doctor, that rollback. He tried that earlier, went back to the well, came up with it, and Tudor in transition. That's the one for me that really sealed the deal.
And then Lasco right there with a nice backdoor play. Harvard tries to make it interesting, getting him to within 2, but again, Gambitsky, everything for Harvard, trying, just couldn't get the things to go their way. Off the post on the inside there. The Quakers get their first Ivy League tournament championship. An unbelievable performance.
And we are now joined by Penn's head coach, Mike Murphy. And Coach, you know, we can talk about RPIs and brackets and whether you were in or not, but how would you describe to us the significance for your program, this tournament championship for you and the Quakers?
Thanks, guys. It was a huge step forward for us. For the last couple of years, we've set our goal at the beginning to win the Ivy League championship, and now here we are. We've accomplished that, and now we'll set another goal and start getting ready this week for our next game. But it was definitely a big one and a significant step forward.
All right, Coach. Congratulations. Thanks for your time. Enjoy this one and enjoy practice as you get ready for the NCAA tournament. Now let's go to baseball.
Welcome to the SEC on ESPN. Another great day in College Station, Texas. We put a cap on the series between number 6 LSU and Texas A&M. LSU won 5-4 in 10 on Friday. A&M won 3-2 with a walk-off single in the 9th yesterday. So today the series will be decided. LSU lost a game to Ole Miss in the SEC Western Division standings. Now a game and a half behind the Rebels, who are going for the sweep today against Arkansas. There's Texas A&M in 5th place, 4 games back. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to College Station alongside the great Kyle Peterson. I'm Clay Matvick. Glad to have you along here for Game 3. Selection Day is on Memorial Day. That's just over 3 weeks from now. And today's game could go a long way to deciding whether Texas A&M gets into the tournament in 3 weeks and whether LSU hosts or not.
Yeah, kind of two different discussions in both dugouts right now. And A&M, I think, is in a very good position today, but still 2 weekends after this within the regular season in the SEC, and then obviously headed on to Hoover. Here's how it looks today. So the RPI is good and is in a strong point. That last 15 we put on there because it's important. In talking about the selection committee, that's one of the things that they bring into consideration when deciding who's going to get in. 11 and 12 in the conference, pretty good number. And if they get to 13, 14, absolutely 15 wins, I think they're in for sure. Now LSU, the discussion is about can they host. I think they need to be top 4 in the SEC by the time they get to the end of the year. They're second in the West right now. Why isn't it advantage? Lafayette is going to host. And almost assuredly, LSU and Lafayette would match up either in a regional or in a super, and the road through Baton Rouge would be a lot easier for LSU to get to that point.
All right, here's Paul Maneri's lineup today. It'll be Andrew Stevenson leading it off again, followed by Mark Laird. There's Alex Bregman in the 3-hole. Had a big game on Friday, not so much yesterday. Went 0 for 4. He'll be a key. Sean McMullen, Jake Fraley, Cade Civic, Connor Hale, Tyler Moore, and Christian Ibarra. And there you see Bregman 3 for 8 with a home run, a couple of runs batted in, and 2 runs scored, but he did most of his damage on Friday night. Now Grayson Long is the starter for Texas A&M. The sophomore right-hander has been solid on Sundays, Kyle, going for his 4th straight win.
Yeah, he's been really good. All 4 of those wins have been in the SEC. So you need that guy that you can throw on Sundays to really have a stable weekend rotation. Long has been that guy. Fastball command is key. He can run it up there, and it can get 91, 92, 93 at times. There's not really that wipeout, strikeout pitch, though. Slider and the change are okay. So early contact is good. They'll take early contact and ground balls. And I think today against an LSU lineup with a lot of left-handers, that changeup is going to be very important.
You see the numbers on Long, and as you mentioned, he does pitch to contact. 29 hits allowed the last 3 starts, but he's scattered them around. He's been able to get the outs when he's needed them, and he's going to try and get a series win here today for the Aggies.
I think in the defense that they have behind him, too, it's a really fast outfield. It's an infield, and although there's a few moving parts because of an injury to Logan Taylor, it's a really good defense behind him, and he's comfortable throwing the contact. Not everybody's like that, but Long's used it to his advantage.
Here's a look at the defense for Texas A&M, and Alamond is the starting shortstop. He is making his 2nd straight start at the position because Logan Taylor, who had been the everyday starting shortstop, injured his knee on Friday in the game at the plate, and he's going to be done in the action for a couple of weeks. All right, we're ready to go. Andrew Stevenson stands in from the left side. Sophomore from Youngsville, Louisiana, takes down, and outside, ball 1 as we're underway here at Bluebell Park. Stevenson doubled in the 10th inning Friday and scored the game-winning run for LSU in that extra inning affair. 2 for 5 on Friday, went 0 for 3 in yesterday's game. Really the only downer from that game on Friday for LSU is that their star, Aaron Nola, who pitched beautifully that day, Kyle, 8 1/3, didn't get the win.
No, ended up a win for the club, but it looked like the way the Nola threw would absolutely be a win for him.
That one is down too, so it's a 3-1 count to the leadoff man. Nola's been stuck on 7 wins for a while. That was his 3rd straight no decision. In on the hands, he swung at the 3-1, pops it up short right field, and he doesn't see it, and it's going to drop in for a hit. Nick Banks, who had trouble with the sun yesterday, sees it happen again, and it's a man on 3rd for LSU. We'll see how this is ruled, but it's been a problem the last couple of days, that high sky, and it hurts A&M again.
Back-to-back days, and yesterday I think it was really the only reason LSU scored, and it was a very similar ball down the right field line, deep enough that when it's off the bat you think it's absolutely going to be caught. You can see at the last minute Ryan Burke's trying to find it to second baseman. Credit Stevenson too, because he's running right about now. He thinks he's got a chance. You know you've got a chance. You can see the reaction of an outfielder tells you right away whether or not they have it. Arms start running around, they're looking for help, but it's going to go as a leadoff triple for Stevenson.
Wow. Really the only reason that Daniel Mengden had any trouble in the middle innings was because of that inning, and here's another one that's in the air to right field, and Banks can't see this one either. Gets some help from Bratson, makes the catch, tagging is Stevenson, and LSU gets some help from Mother Nature and breaks out in front here in the 1st inning.
Wow, that's 2 in a row. I mean, this is one of those two to where a lot of times it's not always the sun, it's the backdrop. And the backdrop, if it's gray or it's lighter in color, if an outfielder doesn't see it off the bat, then you throw the sun into the equation, you're not going to find it. And that's the problem. If it's cloudy, you got a chance to maybe find it when it goes into the air. With blue skies the way that it is now, if he doesn't see it off the bat right now in right field, Banks isn't going to find it. It's happened twice, but credit Bratson for realizing at that time he had enough time to get over and make the play.
So Laird is the first out. It's a sacrifice fly. 1-0 Tigers as Bregman stands in. 3 for 4 with a couple of runs batted in on Friday, including a home run. 0 for 4 yesterday. This is exactly what Paul Mainieri was hoping for, an early lead to give his starting pitcher today, Alden Cartwright, some cushion, because we might see a lot of pitchers for LSU today. It might be a piecemeal situation for that staff.
The ideal situation, if they get 4 out of Cartwright, that's a good day, because it's an LSU bullpen, except for Kurt McCune. It's really ready to go. McCune's pitched in each of the first 2 ball games, but he was the only reliever they used yesterday. So Cartwright gives them 4. They piece a few together. The ideal would get to Broussard to pitch the 8th and the 9th.
Alex Bregman, the 1-2 pitch, takes it back up the middle for a base hit. He has really started to see his average come back to life as he went the better part of a month, the first part of SEC play, where he was in a big slump.
Oh, it's interesting too, when stuff starts going your way, balls like this fall, because that one tied him up. I mean, it's a fastball in on his hands, but it's hit to the right spot. In a spot to where Alamon, the shortstop, Ryan Burke, the second baseman, can't get there. So it's another hit for Bregman. Hitless yesterday, but a big game in the opener here.
7 multi-hit games in the last 11 for Bregman. His average, though, about 80 points below where it was a year ago. As McMullen stands in, he's .281 on the year. 4 homers and 27 runs batted in. 1-0 pitch to the cleanup man. He swings to first. Langford will go to second for the force. Bregman is out there. And there are 2 outs for LSU.
We talked about Grayson Long and how the changeup was going to have to figure in against left-handers. Here was the change right here. A good job by Langford to make sure you get that lead runner, and another good decision by Alamon. No reason to throw that ball if you don't have a chance over at first base.
And now the true freshman from Delaware, Jake Fraley, stands in. Another left-handed hitter against the righty. And Fraley is the reigning SEC Freshman of the Week, but so far in this series against Texas A&M, he's been very, very quiet. 0 for 7 in the series with 5 strikeouts. Runner goes. Here comes the throw from Stein. Got it. Troy Stein getting the start behind the plate today after having the day off yesterday. Tested here in the first inning, and he comes up with a throw up. But LSU gets on the board.
They picked the right pitch to run on. It was a changeup, so you go off speed, but Aleman there in time takes the throw right on the bag. We saw him do this earlier this weekend too, to wait for the ball to get all the way to the bag, then just drop the tag down just enough to get McMullen. McMullen 5 of 6 on the year in stolen bases before that one.
So LSU, with a little help from a sun ball, takes a 1-0 lead as we go to the home half of the first inning. Let's recap the weekend for you. Go back to an exciting finish in Friday night's game. Aaron Nola was on the mound, the ace for LSU. He's expected to be a top 10 draft pick in the major leagues this year. Threw 113 pitches, struck out 7, but he couldn't finish it. And Broussard couldn't get the save, Kyle.
No, it's a giant pitch hit, but this is as good a play as you're going to see. Number 1 on the SC top 10, and rightfully so. Jared Foster, who came in as a defensive replacement, saved the game. That ball falls, A&M wins. Instead, LSU won the opener.
And then in game 2, Daniel Mengden went the distance, a complete game victory. And it was tied at 2 in the 9th. A&M loaded the bases, and that set up Langford for the game-winning walk-off.
And I think a really good sign for Texas A&M is the game that Daniel Mengden had. Complete game, 2 earned runs. And again, without a sun ball out in right field and a strikeout that went to the backstop, Mengden, you could be looking at a complete game shutout. They need him to be really good the rest of the year.
Here's the quote from Rob Childress after that Friday game. Just tip your hat to Aaron Nola. He's one of the best in the country. We didn't leave with a win, but we got some momentum. Got into their bullpen, made a run at them, and if not for the #1 play on SportsCenter that night, we lead the series 2 games to none. That's essentially what you said. Even though it was a loss, they got something out of that.
You know, talking with Rob Childress before this game, and it was interesting just to get his take. And he was talking about how he's changed as a coach over the years. And he said, when you're in this league, you can't get that worked up on any given weekend, because you know the following weekend, you got somebody coming in or you're going somewhere that you're going to have your hands full with. He was just talking about how he's changed over the years and how the approach has changed, especially in this league, because there are no off weekends.
And here is the lineup for Coach Childress. Aleman, McClendon, there is Langford, the hero yesterday. Banks, Burke, Stein, Gideon, Statham, and Bratson. And the first pitch from Alden Cartwright, the true freshman from Baton Rouge, is in there for strike 1. He was a middle reliever until recently, making his 4th career start and 3rd in the SEC. And Aleman greets him with an opposite field single. What can you tell us about the young Mr. Alden Cartwright?
You know, he's actually done a pretty good job. It's LSU in a spot to where they're now having to use 2 freshmen in a weekend rotation. Throws a bunch of strikes, somewhat similar to Long, but the stuff isn't quite as good. Fastball will be close to 90 miles an hour. But again, the approach for LSU, if they get 4 or 5 and can piece it together with the bullpen to get to Broussard, that's their ideal situation.
So a man on for McClendon. 2 for 6 in the series. Runner goes as the hit and run is on right out of the gate. Texas A&M trying to put some pressure on the defense. Numbers on Cartwright. Good ERA. He injured his shoulder March 15th at Vanderbilt. He was out for a couple of weeks. Other than that, it's been a pretty good freshman season.
It's been a real good freshman season. I mean, he was in the bullpen up until really the last few weeks. His last 3 outings have been his only 3 starts of the year.
Here's the 0-1. Chased it up and then fouled it back. 2 strikes to Patrick McClendon, the DH in the 2-hole. And this guy can really advance runners, KP. 47 times in 75 opportunities with runners on, he has moved them along. That's 63%. That's why he's in the 2-hole.
Yeah, that's the very reason he's in the lineup and in a spot, too, where they can take advantage of it.
Let's up it in. 1-2 to McClendon. Junior from Southlake, Texas, with a .310 average coming into the day. He prepped at Texas Power Southlake Carroll. If you've been following Texas high school football over the years, you know all about Southlake Carroll. He started his college career at Winthrop. Played there for a year, then left for Cisco College. Now he's here in College Station playing for the Aggies. Man on, 1-2 pitch. That's it. Now it's even. Texas A&M trying to get win number 30 on the year and take a series from LSU, the number 6 team in the country, as they try to pad their resume. And now you might say they're on that proverbial NCAA tournament bubble. Hopper to third. Ibarra has it. It's got one play, and that's to first. So Alamon now in scoring position. McClendon retired, one down. And that'll bring up Langford. Alex Bregman, very talented shortstop for LSU, the SEC and National Freshman of the Year a year ago. His team 4th in the league in fielding percentage. Creep in behind Alamon to try and keep him close to second, as Langford, who can spray it to all fields and seems to square everything up, is up there. He is the top RBI man for the Aggies. Got 2 yesterday, including that game winner. Really like this guy's swing.
We were talking about it yesterday after the game too. It's just everything seems to find the barrel. It doesn't look like your prototypical power guy, but he still does have 4 home runs.
To center, Stevenson makes the catch, tagging and heading to third is Alamon, and he'll get there easily. Again, anything hit in the air to center and right field could be a challenge. And then, of course, the wind plays a factor too today, not just the sun.
You've got a day, and you know you're going to get them down here, where the wind's going to blow every day. Today, blowing straight out to center field. Ball's jumping in BP too.
Now here's Nick Banks. 0 for 4 Friday, but 2 for 3 with a run scored yesterday. And he hits the first pitch to center. Going back hard is Stevenson, and he won't get there. Off the wall and over it. An RBI ground rule double for Banks. And the Aggies have tied it up at 1.
It's like you knew what was going to happen. Wind blowing out. If the wind's blowing in or there's no wind, Stevenson has a chance to get to this ball. It's a great swing by the freshman. He's going to be a really good player here in College Station. Backspin out to center. Stevenson, not a lot of things that fall out in center field at LSU, but that one, wind, backspin, enough to take it over his head and tie the ball game at 1. Great swing by the freshman, who really over the last 2 months, he and Langford, he's given Langford a run for most consistent offensive player on this team. It's a really good 3-4 punch.
Banks hitting about .375 since mid-March. And Ryan Burke takes a strike. So exactly what the Aggies needed to do after, you might say, a fluke run scored by LSU in the top of the inning. You don't want to take anything away from LSU. They got the run on the board, but certainly some peculiar circumstances again in how they got it. And the Aggies respond with a run of their own. And Burke wraps this one foul. You were just talking about Banks and how exciting and young he is, and great future. This is another guy that they like too, Ryan Burke.
Burke, and the amazing thing about Burke, we saw yesterday from the left side. What is he now, 8 for 12 on the year against left-handed pitchers?
The 0-2. Cartwright stops the inning right there with his first strikeout. But Texas A&M gets a single from Alamon, and Banks brings him home with an RBI double over the center field wall. We're tied at 1 after 1 here in College Station.
Life is more rewarding when you feel secure. At Northwestern Mutual, we'll keep you ahead of the game with a personalized plan that helps you stay focused on your goals.
SEC East rivals square off on ESPNU. With the postseason in sight, the Commodores look to improve their conference resume against a Gators squad sitting in the division driver's seat. The series begins Thursday at 8:30 on ESPNU.
Beautiful sunny Sunday here in Texas. Little George Strait in the background at Bluebell Park.
Just sounds right, doesn't it? Just sounds right.
King of country. We go to the top of the second, tied at 1. And we expected some offense here today because of the win, because of the Sunday starters going. There tends to be more offense in the third game. And, well, we haven't been disappointed so far. Each team with a run on the board. Jake Fraley, Cade Civic, and Connor Hale, 5, 6, and 7 for the LSU Tigers. Fraley was left at the plate when McMullen was gunned down trying to steal and brought an end to the top of the first. Fraley went 8 for 15 with 6 runs batted in and wins over Tulane and Tennessee last week. That's why he was SEC Freshman of the Week. This one is going to land foul. And had a big 3-run homer against Alcorn on Tuesday as LSU came back to win that non-conference game.
We talked about the importance of the changeup for Long. I think the one thing to watch is to his body. When Long goes, his body really slows up, and it was a good reaction right here too from Fraley. I think he recognized that a little bit early, and then when he saw it, was able to try to take the ball the other way. But watch these LSU hitters as the game goes on, how they react to the difference in body motion between fastball and changeup, because he tipped that last one.
Hangs in there again. It stays 0-2. Grayson Long follow a really nice Saturday start from Daniel Mengden. Got his 4th win of the year. This one lifted to short, right center field again. Everything will be a challenge out there, but Nick Banks gets a round of applause and he responds by acknowledging the crowd's standing ovation.
Oh, that's beautiful. Look at him go.
1 down.
Oh,
tip your hat.
Can't have better friends than that.
He could be wearing a welding shield out there, and I don't know if it would be enough to make it easy to see out there today.
That far off.
He's got the sunglasses on, got the eye black on, that hat pulled right down, and it's still a challenge.
Well, he had the shades on top of the hat yesterday when he lost it, so now they're in the right spot. Ball's hit pretty well.
Bratson backing off. He's got good speed and makes it look easy. 2 up, 2 down for Grayson Long here in the second. That's the 3rd fly ball out for Long. Friday night, Parker Ray gave up 4 runs through 5 2/3, took the no decision, and again, Mengden the complete game yesterday for the win. And Mengden retired the last 14 he faced yesterday. And it's fouled back by Connor Hale, so he's quickly in an 0-2 hole. That just missed down 1-2.
Good spot. And one thing to look on that side of the plate too for Long is he really did a good job of getting through that ball because it had sink. It's a lot easier for a right-handed pitcher to sink it into the right-handed hitter. That time it sunk on the pitcher way.
Connor Hale pretty good series, 3 for 8 with a couple of runs batted in. Newport Richey, Florida, hitting over 300 coming into the day. This is a slow roller left side, charging hard as Gideon from third throws on the run and got it. The freshman third baseman pressed into duty because of the injury earlier in the series to the shortstop, Logan Taylor. Makes a nice play. And there is Banks coming in from right field, and you know he's going to get some love from his teammates.
Looks like on his face he's had about enough now. Love the reaction, though.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does. And like that, you're a job creator.
Hi, this is my dad, and he's an advertising executive. Hi, this is my mom, and she's an algebra teacher.
What would your child say if you never received your degree? Kickstart your career by getting more information about college degrees at Degree Solutions. And did you know that college graduates can make more than those with just a high school diploma?
I'm really proud of you, Mom.
Log on now to ProudDegree.com. That's ProudDegree.com. ProudDegree.com.
Number 6 LSU and Texas A&M tied at 1 as we go to the bottom of the second. This is the deciding game of the series. LSU won Friday. Texas A&M won yesterday. The SEC has some very talented teams. You see Florida, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss all in the top 10 with South Carolina in the RPI. And we're going to be talking with Kendall Rogers from perfectgame.org later in the broadcast about how the SEC is shaping up for the NCAA tournament. Who could possibly host? Who will be national seeds potentially? Florida's certainly looking good right now.
And the first 2 this weekend in Tuscaloosa, too, against a really good Alabama team. I think the one on that list that's interesting to watch is Kentucky, because if there's anybody that has an advantageous last 2 weeks, the schedule is best for Kentucky.
Stein, Gideon, and Statham, 6, 7, and 8 for Texas A&M. LSU with an RPI of 16 coming into the day. Dropped a couple of ticks after yesterday's loss. This guy is the unofficial team captain the last couple of years for Texas A&M. His 135th start today behind the plate. And he coaxes a walk to start the second. And that'll bring up Gideon to the plate. Ronnie Gideon came in Friday in the 4th inning after the knee injury to the shortstop, Logan Taylor, and here it is, and it's not pretty.
I talked to Logan today. I mean, it ended up, it was a dislocated kneecap. And he said when he was going, it was a take. He wasn't going to swing, but his foot stuck. Foot stuck, knee kept going. The good news is they don't think anything was torn. They think it was just the kneecap. He could be back in as little as 2 weeks, which is amazing after you watch that injury.
Alamon moved to short from third base on Friday, and then Gideon came in to play third, and he's been there the rest of the series. Making his 13th start at third base today. He was 0 for 2 yesterday, 0 for 2 in Friday's game as well. He tries to bunt here, goes right back to the pitcher, and they've got a double play. Wow. Stein can't get back to the bag in time. 2 down.
Somebody missed something here. On a hit and run, you're going to be running on first base. You don't see a bunt and run very often, but watch the break on first. That's a misread by Stein, who doesn't do that very often. That's a veteran who usually is in the right spot. Your first movement on first base when the bunt goes up in the air, regardless of where it is to freeze. Stein's first movement was out to second base. Good play by Cartwright, heads up play, but he had plenty of time to turn a double play.
Fourth double play in the last 2 days for LSU. And bases empty, 2 down for Jace Statham. Strike, 1-1. Statham back in left field today. That's been a position in flux for the Aggies this season. 8 different guys have played there. It seems to be coming back to Statham most often as he flies to left, and Fraley makes the catch. So Cartwright faces the minimum in the bottom of the second. So we're through 2, tied at 1 here in Game 3 of the series.
This is the Quicksilver Cashback Card from Capital One. It's not the limit your hard-earned cashback card. It's not the confused by rotating categories card. It's the no category gaming, no look passing, clear the lane, I'm going up strong, backboard breaking cashback card. This is the Quicksilver Cashback Card from Capital One. Unlimited 1.5% cashback on every purchase every single day. I'll ask again. What's in your wallet?
I don't like the look of this mob, Lenny. A&M Crunchwraps over here, Cinnabon Delights over there.
Looks like a morning rave is about to go down.
Next thing you know, they'll be twerking with their waffle tacos hanging out.
We survived disco, now this.
Oh, yeah. That is definitely a rave. Yeah. What's a rave?
What's a twerk?
The next generation of breakfast is here. The Waffle Taco, A&M Crunchwrap, and Cinnabon Delights. Part of the all-new breakfast menu at Taco Bell.
College baseball coverage continues on Tuesday at 8. In-state rivalry. The Wildcats head to Wichita to take on the Shockers. College baseball. Kansas State, Wichita State, 8 o'clock Eastern time, Tuesday on the U. Battle in the Sunflower State. And Kansas State part of the Big 12, of course, and that Big 12 in conference RPI is number 2 behind the SEC. And we're going to be talking more about the conference RPI situation, specifically when it comes to one team out of the Big 12, Oklahoma State, when Kendall Rogers comes in here in a few innings.
Oklahoma State, who's leading the league right now by a game over TCU. Look at Missouri Valley. Valley up to 6th. Dallas Baptist now a member of the Valley. Indiana State with a top 25 RPI.
This is Tyler Moore. He'll be followed by Ibarra and Stevenson. 8, 9, and 1 for LSU here in the third, tied at 1. 2 strikes. Tyler Moore 0 for 3 yesterday. He's 1 for 3 with a run batted in on Friday. Went to Dunham High School in Baton Rouge. This one's going to get out of play. Over the bullpen out there. A lot of folks here taking in the Rays. Just a beautiful day on this Sunday. Base hit. Could be 2. We'll keep an eye on Moore. He comes around first hard, and you bet he's going for it. Here comes the throw. Not in time. A sliding double for Tyler Moore here to lead off the third inning for LSU.
Good swing and a great approach by Moore, too. On a ball that's down in the zone. I think it's another changeup. Just waits. He gets ahead of the bat. Hooks it right over the top of Langford. The whole play is in front of Moore, so it's his call the entire time. And the outfitter has to go to the warning track to make the play. You know you're heading to second base every time. Leadoff double from Moore and the Tigers here in the third.
Third hit for LSU as Ibarra comes up. The number 9 man tries to bunt the runner along. Strike 1. Ibarra hitless in the series. Former junior college transfer. Had a great year last year in his first for the Tigers. Numbers down this season, but still a excellent defensive third baseman, and he's pretty good with the bat. And he's probably better than most number 9 hitters at the plate, even though the numbers, like I said, don't reflect how good his offense can be at times.
He hit right in the middle of this lineup last year when offensively there was some more punch in it. 6th for a lot of the year.
To first base.
Good job.
Langford steps on the bag, but they move the runner to third, so gets the job done. 1 down now, and we're back to the top of the order.
And you foul a bunt off, and then the next one's taken for strike 2. So he bar in the hole 0-2, but got one he could take to the right side. Anything on the ground to that side is going to get more over to third base. So didn't get the bunt down, but I like that approach better anyway. Just to try to have a guy like Ibarra hit it hard to the right side. If it goes through, you score a run.
Stevenson had that sunball triple in the first inning. Came around to score LSU's run. Stevenson had a 17-game hitting streak from late February to mid-March. He got out to a great start this year. This is called for by Aleman, the shortstop, backing up and almost collides with Bratson, the center fielder. Fortunately for Texas A&M, they get the out, nobody gets hurt, and they hold the runner more at third base, 2 away.
Really see that come together from up here in the press box, because you saw how hard Bratson was coming, and it didn't look like he was going to stop. I think it's Aleman's ball, especially if Bratson has to go that far. He was back there in plenty of time. They just about collided.
We might be in for more of those kind of plays as the day goes on. Laird up there now, 1-0. Nice pick by Langford. He'll flip to the pitcher covering, and he wins the race. Grayson Long got there in time to retire Laird. Langford with a beautiful play at first base to end the inning.
Off the bat, it looks like an RBI single for Laird, but we talk about Langford and his ability with the bat. This time going backhand side, but the key right here is get set before you flip it. If you glove it and the flip's no good, it really doesn't matter. Great route to the bag by Long, and it saves a run. Still tied at 1 in College Station.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Disappointed by how much you pay for satellite? Most customers are, 70% in fact. Get Suddenlink TV. For free HD and straightforward pricing, switch today.
That is a live look at the $450 million renovation going on at the football stadium, Kyle Field, just across the way here from the baseball stadium.
You could pay me $450 million and I wouldn't do that.
On a windy day like today, I mean, on any day, that's a tough job, but especially today.
Wow.
Bottom of the third we go, tied at 1. Branson, Alamond, and McClendon, 9-1 and 2. Look out. Branson ducks away from that pitch. And Cartwright. The very speedy number 9 man, Craig Bratson. 1-1. Bratson, without a doubt, the best stolen base threat for this team. In fact, second all-time at A&M in career stolen bases, has 86. This one is down the line, and even Laird had a little issue finding it, it appeared, but he tracks it down at foul ground for out number 1. Saw that little bit of hesitation there at the end. He gets the out. And now Alamon comes up again. Single and a run scored in the first. This guy was on base 4 times yesterday, already on base once. This is an out. Alamon has stretched his streak of reaching base to 24 straight with that single in the first inning. But he's the second out of the third, and that brings up McClendon. strike. Clendon grounded out to Ibarra at third, his first time around. The 0-1 pitch. Little pop-up. The shortstop Bregman has it, and this is playing right into Palmineri's plan.
All the Cartwright has been really good so far for LSU, and that's what they needed. If they can get a few more out of him, then it plays really well into the entire game plan.
LSU 1, Texas A&M 1. As we go to the fourth inning, we're going to be talking with Daniel Mengden, yesterday's winner for the Aggies.
Huh. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Everybody knows that.
Well, did you know that game show hosts should only host game shows?
Samantha, do you take Kevin as your lawfully wedded husband? Or would you rather have a new car? Say hello to the season's hottest convertible. Oh, and say goodbye to Samantha.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Wednesday on ESPNU.
It's all about the postseason and making it happen when it counts most.
The nation's premier softball conference championship gets underway.
Their offense is spectacular.
10 teams, but only one champion.
She's one of those pitchers that is a game changer.
Who will punch their ticket to the NCAA regionals?
This may be their best chance to win a national championship.
The SEC softball tournament begins Wednesday at 4 on ESPNU.
To the fourth, tied at 1, LSU and Texas A&M. On a beautiful day here on this Sunday. Daniel Mengden was the winning pitcher yesterday. Went the distance. Here he is, one of the greatest mustaches in college baseball.
Yeah, when are we going to see that again?
Hopefully he'll be ready by the tournament, hopefully.
Oh, so, I mean, this is like the development phase right now?
Oh, yeah, definitely still in the development phase.
What'd you think about yesterday's performance?
You know, I thought I did well, you know, kind of had a little shaky start in the beginning, the first 2 innings, you know, and ended up getting out of it. You know, it's really big to put up some zeros early and let the guys score for us.
What was different yesterday? Because I know at times it's been a struggle this year, and then at other times it's you're locked right back in. What was different yesterday as opposed to maybe a few that you've struggled in this year?
I don't know, you know, playing at home is always nice, you know, having the atmosphere of being able to play here. But I don't know, you know, I just go out there and do the same thing, just try to throw strikes and let our guys play. So.
Bregman's up there. Got to hit his last time up. That one's wrapped outside of third. Daniel, you played 2 positions last year. I mean, you were in the field at times and, of course, on the mound as well. I mean, but you're just focusing on pitching. What's it been like just worrying about being on the mound this year?
You know, it's great. You know, I do miss hitting, like I guess all guys would. You know, being two-way player is really nice. But, you know, being able to be there for the young guys, really be a leader for them. And just be able to be with the pitching staff, you know, try to stay healthy all year, being able to play only one position, you know, and just try to focus really on pitching because, you know, me and Coach Childress decided it's just better for us as a whole. We had a lot of JUCO guys come in that could hit, and we have a lot of young guys that can hit as well, so there's really no point for me to hit. So it just ended up working out, and I'm happy with it.
Hey, tell me, so we got 2 weeks left in the SEC after this week and then on to Hoover in the postseason. What do you guys need to get better at and be really good at heading into the postseason and have a chance to make a run?
You know, he's got to play really good defense, you know. Defense wins ball games, and we just got to keep competing on the mound. You know, we've been doing really well lately, especially hitting as of late, but, you know, all 3 aspects really matter in the game. And if we continue just to gel all the way around, the camaraderie of the guys is awesome right now. So if we can stay healthy and keep playing where we are, we can be pretty good.
Draft eligible this year, and obviously that enters into everybody's mind. But when you think back over the time that you've had here at A&M, what sticks out the most?
Honestly, everything. This place is awesome. Everything about Aggieland is awesome, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Well, thank you, Daniel, for joining us. Congratulations on the win yesterday, and good luck with the mustache.
Good talking
to you very much.
Keep it up.
Thank you.
Daniel Mengden, a junior from Houston. Now, win number 4 on the year yesterday, a complete game effort to even this series. Bregman a fly out for out number 1 here in the 4th. This is McMullen. Reached on a fielder's choice in the 1st inning. The 0-2 pitch from Grayson Long. Wrapped into right field, base hit. That is the 3rd hit for the Aggies, or excuse me, 4th hit for the Tigers, I should say. And One-out base runner for Fraley.
Swing by McMullen. Remember, McMullen thrown out trying to steal last time. Let's see if they try to put him in motion again.
Now here's Fraley still looking for his first hit of the series. To right field. Did you ever have facial hair when you played? Did they allow you to have it?
Oh yeah, yeah, they allowed it. Just might look horrendous.
So you just didn't grow it?
No, I still did it sometimes. It just looked bad.
I'll say this: that mustache that he had last year was pretty impressive. And I'm not a big facial hair guy.
You have to appreciate a good mustache.
Yeah.
Just
And
because you can't do it doesn't mean that you can't appreciate it.
I elect not to. Thank you very much.
You sure.
It was a throwback too. It reminds you of the 1970s Oakland A's.
Yeah.
Those guys had a lot of facial hair.
Spun his wheels on the way back in, too.
So McMullen thrown out at second, now picked off at first. It's been a tough day on the bases for Sean.
Watch his feet trying to get back in. So one is the lean and that initial break. That's a great move, and he picked the right time to do it. So if you pick when the guy's going to run, if there's anything within that move that makes it look like you're going to home plate, you get a reaction like that. So McMullen now thrown out trying to steal and picked off first.
Well, flare down the line and lands foul. So it's 2-2 to Fraley. Here's that mustache we were talking about from Mengden last year.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, it looks like Raleigh Fingers.
But is it as good as this?
Oh, come on. You guys.
I think you should try.
All right, I'll tell you what.
You're no quitter. You're not a quitter.
I'll tell you what. All right. Between now and Super Regionals, I'll try and grow a mustache like that if you do the same.
No, don't bring me into this.
That's the only way I would do it. See, I know Julie won't let you do it. That's why I challenge you. I'm not going to call. Well, let Dave
he does. He's not asking anybody else to do it with him. He doesn't care. You should be the same way.
He's going to get an endorsement from a mustache wax company before it's all said. They appealed out of the third base umpire, Steve Manders, who was behind on plate yesterday, says no. So it's a two-out base runner here. Fraley is aboard. That was the first walk allowed by Long. Now bring up Cade Civic.
Civic took a pretty good swing last time. Flew out to center field, but took a pretty good swing and just missed catching it. He might get into one here if you leave one up in the zone.
He's got 4 home runs on the year. Pitch is up. 1 ball and no strikes. Civic. A step out of the box, and before he can get back in, Rob Childress is going to come out and have a conversation with his right-hander.
Could just be about being a little bit too quick to home plate right there. Sometimes on the mound, you're more worried about the guy standing at first base than the guy standing at home plate. And that time it looked to me like Long was trying to be so quick to home plate that the ball really sailed on him. Maybe just a little reminder, hey, there's 2 outs right here. Get the guy at the dish. Don't worry about being so quick. Just make your pitch.
So this is a pitching coach trip, and that's what Rob Childress is as well. He's not only the head coach, he's the pitching coach, one of the better ones in the country for many years before he got the head coaching job 9 years ago here in College Station.
Yeah, they had a great run in Nebraska. Great run in Nebraska. Dave Van Horn was the head coach. Rob, the pitching coach. Mike Anderson, the hitting coach.
Childress has taken A&M to a program record 7 straight NCAA tournaments. The only year he didn't take them to a tournament was 2006. That was his first season on the job. Long will go back to first, and Fraley's back standing. Cade Civic at the plate for LSU. Junior catcher, played his summer ball in St. Cloud, Minnesota last year.
It's near and dear to your heart.
Know it well. The Granite City. Played for the St. Cloud Rocks. Civic, a fly out to center field his last time up. Here's the 1-1 from Grayson Long. Off speed pitch, sent back foul, 1-2.
How much more deliberate that was.
Yeah.
You don't want to invite the guy at first base to steal it, but you still want to make sure that you're understanding that job number one is to get the guy at the plate, especially with 2 outs.
Outside, now it's even. Grayson Long last week lasted only 5 innings, but beat Mississippi State. 2 weeks ago, he held Kentucky to just 2 runs over 8. 3 weeks ago, gave up 11 hits over 7 2/3, but kept Vandy to 2 runs. Now full count here to Civic. That really is indicative of how he's been able to win games recently. So this is not unusual for him to have base runners, for him to give up hits, for him to have full counts. Boy, he's been working around it all recently. Payoff pitch to Civic. Runner goes, and it's fouled off.
Well, last week had a huge weekend for A&M because they lose the opener against Mississippi State, but then come back and win the next 2 to win the series on the road. Trying to do the exact same thing here this weekend.
RPI went from 38 to 37 with the win yesterday. Again, off with the pitch. Civic deep to left, but not deep enough. A couple of steps in front of the warning track. I thought he hit it better than that, but the wind is blowing out the other way. So that ends the inning. We're still tied at 1.
At Golden Corral, we love seniors. Right now, our early bird special is just $7.49, drink included. You heard that right. Choose from all the delicious food you love, and your drink is included for just $7.49. It's appetizers, farm fresh vegetables, entrees like our slow roasted pot roast, our famous meatloaf, and more. Not to mention our new and improved Las Vegas style mini desserts. It's the $7.49 early bird special. It's just for seniors, and it's only at Golden Corral.
Impact, research, collaboration. The Southeastern Conference Academic Initiative, providing new opportunities to lead, learn, and compete, honoring the achievements of the SEC faculty, students, and universities, preparing future leaders in higher education. Introducing an SEC University Education to the World. SECU, the academic initiative of the Southeastern Conference.
LSU, Texas A&M, Game 3 of the series. A little recap for you. A sun ball in the first inning. Andrew Stevenson ended up on third. He came around to score, but then a ground rule double in the bottom of the first for Nick Banks. Tied this game at 1, and then the sun ball that Banks actually handled an inning later. He got a Bronx cheer from his buddies. And the crowd, too, here at Bluebell Park. And Banks will hit second this inning. You know, you and I were kind of talking about this before the game today. There is a lighter atmosphere that surrounds college baseball that you don't see when it comes to college football, basketball. It's a little more relaxed. Even though these games are important, they're important to the players and to the coaches, but it is the game of summer, and generally speaking, everyone's here relaxed, having fun.
I think a part of it too is just the general nature of it. I mean, within college, you're going to play 56 games. You practice all the way through the fall. I mean, if you're tightly wound in this game, it just doesn't work that well after a while. It's just there's too much monotony. There's too much going on. We were talking about too, and I think it's a huge testament to the guys that we cover. Coaches, for whatever reason, in college baseball, are phenomenal to deal with.
Great access. Yep.
Honest, conversations that we have on the field just before the game, and the stuff that you learn about the things that are going on. Rob was great today. Paul Maneri was phenomenal today. Paul's always phenomenal, both of them. Just makes our job a lot easier, and I think it endears more people to the college game.
(3-1) here to Langford, the leadoff man. Second walk allowed by Cartwright. And the leadoff man is on for the third time in 4 innings for Texas A&M. The exciting lacrosse regular season has officially come to an end. It's time to pick up top lacrosse teams of the nation and find out who the tournament field is. Tonight at 9 on ESPNU, also live on Watch ESPN. The men's lacrosse tournament field will be announced tonight at 9. We have lacrosse on the air just before us here today on ESPNU.
So the lacrosse postseason starts. Then we'll have the selection show on Memorial Day, which I think is always the day that the lacrosse national title game is.
Nick Banks had a big smile on his face after catching that fly ball in right a couple of innings ago. Next inning, we're going to be talking with Kendall Rogers from perfectgame.org.
Should be great. We're going to hang out with Kendall for a while. Guys, as dialed in as what's going on across the country as anybody. Kendall, Aaron Fitt. Saw Eric Sorensen the other day, popped his head in the booth when we were at Tennessee. Those guys do a great job of covering the entire country and what's going on.
1-1 to Banks, who had that RBI double over the center field wall that plated Alamond in the first.
I think you will see action in that LSU bullpen pretty quick, because although Cartwright has cruised through the first 3, history tells you that hadn't really gone much further than that in the past, and what you don't want to be into is a situation where he gives up 3 or 4 before you have the ability to get anybody ready.
2-2.
That was good.
You know what?
A good changeup there.
I was just going to say, we haven't seen a ton of that changeup from Cartwright, but when we've seen it, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, it's been very good.
It's up, so now full count. And one thing that Kendall Rogers is probably going to be talking about is the state of Texas overall. Texas A&M got into the tournament last year, but last year the state did not have a host school, I think, for the first time ever.
Yeah, I think it's the first time as long as I can remember. I know that, especially since there's been 16 regional games.
But this year, we have a few teams hosting.
See if Langford's in motion right here with Banks. Cartwright, not a big strikeout guy. Banks just 21 strikeouts on the year. See if they take a chance with nobody out in a full count, put Langford in motion over at first.
Runner goes, swung on, through the hole on the right side. On his way to third is Langford. Runners at the corners, nobody out here in the bottom of the 4th for Texas A&M.
It's the way it's supposed to work if you put him in motion. Put him in motion and try to go first to third on a ball that otherwise you'd end up at second base. Langford with a good break. Banks puts it in the right spot, just kind of rolls over just out of the reach of Connor Hale at second base. Langford immediately knowing we go first to third on this one, and it changes the entire inning.
And now Ryan Burke struck out against Cartwright back in the first inning. That ended the first inning. He's been swinging a very good bat lately. There you see the defensive setup for the Tigers. At the corners, nobody out. First pitch to Burke, buried for a strike. True freshman from Katy, Texas. 381 with runners in scoring position. On a strike. Burke has really been coming on lately. Hitting right around the 400 mark the last 16 games. He's got a couple of hits in this series. He was 1 for 2 with a run batted in and a couple of walks yesterday. Cartwright coming set, throws. Misses high, 2-1. This is the second time through the order for Texas A&M. Getting to that point now where Paul Maneri is already thinking about his next pitcher. Foul back.
Good hat.
Here's Pearson. Just starting to get loose.
And that's not just to go down and play catch. Start to warm up either.
Zach Pearson, junior lefty. Transferring from LSU Eunice. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Burke. Swung on and missed. Big strikeout for Cartwright. That is out number 1.
He's made some big pitches at big times, and I've been impressed with his off-speed stuff. The breaking ball, when he gets over the top of it, you see him spike that breaking ball. Spikes that breaking ball. It's a good 12-6 action of it. It's his grip. You can see his fingers. That's a great look at it. Good work, fellas. Index finger is spiked, and the middle finger goes right over the top of it. But when you needed a strikeout on the mound, Cartwright got it right there with one of his best breaking balls of the day.
And now Troy Stein. You know, it pains me to say this too, but we do have a great crew this weekend. Because they beat me at Horseshoes yesterday. I don't want to give them any credit.
At least
Danny McFan in there is still grinning about that.
At least you're honest.
Ooh, they got him leaning at third. Got him.
That's a safety squeeze, and you can't get picked off third base on a safety squeeze.
Langford was halfway home almost, and Savick realized it, whipped the throw down to third, and Ibarra laid the tag on it.
Go back and look at the outs that A&M has had today. It was a double play on a bunt that went up in the air, and then this time it looked to me like it was a safety squeeze. And if it's a safety squeeze on third base, you're not going anywhere until you're going to take an aggressive secondary lead, but you're not breaking until that ball goes down. Kind of got caught out in no man's land, and it was good presence of mind right there by Savick. Immediately came up throwing. Ibarra was waiting on the bat. That's an inning killer.
Oh, you get a guy to third and nobody out to now. Cartwright is 1 pitch away from getting out of this inning unscathed.
But credit Cartwright. I mean, that's the time when he needed a strikeout. The best breaking ball came out to get Burke in that spot. He's not home yet. He's not out of it. Just a few minutes ago, first and third, nobody out. You're thinking A&M's maybe going to knock him out of this ball game. Now he might get out of the inning unscathed.
Pitch to Stein, and this is going to get out of play. Cartwright was excellent in his first SEC start against Ole Miss, April 19th. Went 4 innings, allowed just 2 singles, didn't walk anybody. He retired the first 10 he faced. Now, it hasn't been that easy here today against Texas A&M, but if he can get through 4, that would be huge.
Oh, he's done everything they've wanted him to do. If he gets through this inning, it's a 1-1 ball game.
Go over to first one more time. Friday night, Aaron Nola was terrific. We talked about his no decision. Yesterday, Jared Poche put his team in position to win, but LSU lost that game. This one to the outfield again. Everything is a challenge because of the high sky, but Stevenson handles it, and Cartwright gets out of the inning. We played 4, we're still tied.
This spring, reawaken yourself to sun-filled days and exhilarating drives at the Infinity Limited Engagement Spring Event, where you'll find exceptional offers on our entire lineup, like the new Q50 for only $369 a month.
Sonic has like every slush flavor someone could ever want.
That's right. This is basically slush headquarters.
Where sour blue raspberry plans world domination.
What?
Get colorful with new Sonic slushes, now available with Nerds candy. This is how you Sonic.
You're watching the SEC on ESPN. A warm but pleasant Sunday afternoon here in College Station, Texas. We go to the 5th inning. Tied at 1. And let's go back to the last half inning.
A&M loses this ball game. There's a few different spots they're going to look at, but this is one. This looks like a safety squeeze, and you can tell by the reaction of the base runner. And when it started, if it's a suicide squeeze, they're going to sell out. And the minute the pitcher starts to go to home plate, a little bit after that, you're going to see him sprinting towards home plate. But in this, it looked like an extended secondary lead. And then Langford thought the bunt was going to get down, ends up too far off. And I think the reaction of Andy Soares shows you a lot. First and third, nobody out. Strikeout, runner thrown out third base, fly out, and A&M gets no runs. Cartwright pitched out of a jam.
Now you couple that with the sun ball. They appealed to first, did not swing. 1 ball and no strikes to Hale. You couple that with the sun ball and some weird things here have for A&M. They should have the lead.
And a double play on a bunt earlier.
This is hit deep. Well, Hale has a chance to leave the yard and does off the scoreboard and left. Connor Hale, his 3rd home run of the year, and LSU takes a 2-1 lead.
This one's hammered. I mean, the wind's blowing out that way, so it's going to help Connor Hale a little bit, but 375 in the gap, and it is all of it. This one started just left of the scoreboard. Wind brought it back a little bit. It's about 2/3 of the way up the scoreboard out in left center field, and LSU is on top after the solo home run by Connor Hale.
He has been on fire the last 10 games or so, hitting well over 400, and that is his 4th hit of the weekend and his 3rd run batted in. And now Tyler Moore up there, the number 8 man for LSU. Speaking of facial hair, how about those chops? Pretty good sideburns for Connor. And they're taking selfies down there on their cell phones between pitches. And, that'll be tweeted out here. And I love social media. Now Moore chased it up. That's a strikeout. So Moore, who doubled his last time up, struck out by Long this time, 1 down. Connor Hale. No relation to Alan Hale Jr., the skipper from Gilligan's Island.
I think that you just cleared up a misconception by a lot of people in the country right there.
Solo home run to lead off the inning. Are we going to see more home runs again next year when the ball changes?
Yeah, I think we'll see some. And I think we need to see some. We just haven't seen enough.
Look
so
out.
much of that. Yeah. Oh, what a player. Look out. Look out.
You bet.
Look out.
You bet. You bet. I'm gonna soak this one in.
That is beautiful. Well, don't break the table while you're at it. It's a heck of a play. Let's not get too far out in front of ourselves.
That's for you, Mr. Maneri. Yes.
That was outstanding.
This is chopped left side. Alamon.
That's beautiful.
And that ends the inning.
No, it doesn't. You're so caught up in what just
that
happened, you've totally lost your mind.
Is there a nice
There's
young
2
man?
outs. We'll play 3 again this week.
Is there a nice kid here in the front row I can give this to? There you go. That's for you. For her. There you go.
What a giver. What a giver you are.
Yeah, you're right. That's just 2 outs.
Yeah.
Totally lost my mind there.
Yeah.
After that all-star play I made up here in the press box.
You ever done that
Did you
before?
see that? Did you see that catch I made just
Have you ever done that before?
No, that's the
Have you
first.
ever actually caught the ball?
That actually didn't hurt as much as I thought it would.
What would have hurt is if you would have broke the table when you stood on it and went all the way down. which secretly I was actually kind of hoping for.
Three 3-0 to Stevenson, the leadoff man. And walked him.
Oh, this will live in. Oh, what a clown.
Yeah, seeing that again, that's actually not one of my finer moments. I could have stayed in my chair and that would have been just fine.
No, you couldn't have. You couldn't have and you shouldn't have.
Kind of reminds me of last night's horseshoe battle.
Yeah. This is a night after taking a horseshoe to the shin, which a lot of people would not have been able to come back from that. But you and your incredible athletic ability, you shook it off and
a lesser man wouldn't
play
be
for
here
the
today.
ages. Proud of you.
Runner goes, the 0-1 thrown down, and it hits the runner. Stevenson is in at second base.
If he saw it right away, and you don't all the time when it hits the base runner, but if Stevenson saw that right away, he probably could have ended up on third base. But I like taking a chance in that spot too, especially with the speed. Stevenson now 7 of 11 on the year in stolen bases. If he sees it and turns the other way, he probably ends up at third base because there's not enough time for anybody to get there. But as it is, still standing in scoring position.
0-2 here to Laird. LSU with a solo home run from Hale here in the 5th. And we've got Stevenson at second with 2 outs. It's down 2-2 to Laird. Laird is the guy that drove in the game-winning run, the 10th inning fielder's choice on Friday night. This guy's had a knack for plating game-winning runs here in recent weeks. Did it against Arkansas, did it against Tennessee. RBI opportunity here, chance to add to the LSU lead. Got him. Grayson Long ends the inning with a strikeout here in the 5th. But the Tigers take a 2-1 lead with a solo home run from Connor Hale. This was a big blast, but I got to tell you, this was not the real highlight of the inning. I thought it was the catch I made.
Nice work. Keep telling yourself that.
When I was diagnosed with breast cancer, both of my daughters were pregnant, and everything I was looking forward to turned into everything I was going to miss. First words, first steps, being there for my grandchildren, for my daughters. Today, those babies are 3. I'm with them all the time. I don't know what's next, but I know I'm here today. My name is Alanthea Pena, and I'm Susan G. Coleman.
Help save lives.
Are you having problems with the IRS? Our trained professionals here at Wallen Associates have over 30 years experience helping individuals and businesses solve their tax problems.
I owed over $40,000, and I was able to settle my debt for 1/10 of what I owed. Wallen Associates got the IRS off my back, and I never had to talk to them again.
We'll meet with you in person, face-to-face, at a local office near you.
Call 800-743-9125. That's 800-743-9125.
The road has been long, the trials hard. Soon, they will reap the reward for all the work. The 2014 NFL Draft on ESPN.
Todd McShay's mock draft includes several from the SEC and 3 from Texas A&M. Johnny Manziel, the 4th pick right now is what he's projecting to the Browns. Matthews and Evans also going to go high. Twitter's on fire here, and they're saying to act like I've been there before.
Yeah, but you hadn't been there before. How are you supposed to act like you've been there before if you never? Every time you've had that opportunity, you have failed miserably before
that's
that.
True. Cody Glenn is going to pitch now for the Tigers. So Cartwright does exactly what Pulmonary wanted him to do, at least get through the 4th and do a good job doing that, and he did. So now Cody Glenn, who's got a terrific sinker, will come in and try and keep the ball down with this wind that's helping the ball carry out.
Yeah, you better today. But you're right. I mean, as Pulmonary and his staff drew it up, if you got 4 out of Cartwright and he leaves with the lead, that's as good as they could have hoped, and he did his job.
Cody Glenn is going to deal to Gideon, Statham, and Bratson. Gideon cranks one to left. Skips off the wall. Fraley over to play it. He'll wheel, turn to throw, and it's going to be late. A leadoff triple for the big man, Roddy Gideon. Double, excuse me. I said triple. Oh, my goodness. There he is.
Still all fired up.
Yes.
Can't get over it. This one actually tied him up a little bit, too. He didn't get all of it, but got it in the right spot, and the wind's going to help it out to left field. Gideon, a freshman, they're pretty excited about it. From a power standpoint, it's a big kid. I mean, he goes about 250. Right about now, the legs start going. But it's a double nonetheless.
Now Statham will hit. Texas A&M can answer right back after that home run that gave LSU the lead. That would say something about this team's character. You've been seeing really a lot of good character from this team throughout the weekend. Statham fouls it back and ball and a strike. Statham flew out to left his first time up. He's 0 for 1. So Alden Cartwright gives up the 1 run through 4 innings. Gave up just 3 hits, walked a couple. Really put his team in a good position here today. Back up the middle, base hit. Gideon will try to score. Here comes the throw, cut off. RBI, base hit for Jay Statham, and we're tied at 2.
Shows you a little Ichiro right there. I like that approach by Statham. Didn't play yesterday. Back in the lineup today and getting it done right there. So the front side's going to peel off a little bit, but the barrel's going to stay in the zone. Kind of run a little bit after the swing. Not as early as I thought it was, but good job left on left to keep that front right shoulder in, drive it right back up the middle. Lead off double for Gideon. He comes around to score and tie it up. Aggies answer right back.
And now Bratson, the senior from Bryan, Texas, swings at the first pitch. Right back to Glenn. The throw to second, they will not get the lead man. They tried to turn 2, but the throw is low. And so everybody's safe. 2 on, nobody out.
Yeah, it's one of those spots, too, on the mound where the game goes a little bit quicker. It's a great job to glove it. And if it gets through, it's probably a double play anyway. But you got to make sure the footwork is right before you throw this ball out to second base. Bregman's in the right spot, but the game sped up after Glenn made a pretty good play with his glove. If he lets it go, it's probably an easy 6-3 double play because Bregman's breaking that way anyway. Instead, the A&M rally continues. And just to glove it is a pretty darn good play. You can see Bregman already in the frame. In that spot, Bregman's going to be there and either take it himself or flip it to Hale for what would have been a really easy double play. The toughest thing on the mound is your instinct is to grab it. You don't think there's not enough time. Your instinct is to go glove it. But in that one, if you let it go, it's a double play.
The speed of Bratson, though, you think rushed the play?
Yeah, part of it. Part of it.
I'm going to give the error to Bregman.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
How do you give Bregman?
I don't know. Swung on and missed by the leadoff man, Alaman.
What did he do wrong? He did nothing wrong.
1 for 2 today. The single and the run scored came back in the first inning. He flew out his last time up. The 0-1.
I like letting him swing. Leadoff guy in this spot, first and second, nobody out. A lot of times you're going to try to lay down a bunt. I like letting Alaman swing. I think at this point you're trying to play for a little bit bigger inning.
Cody Glenn delivers. Curveball in there for strike 2. 1-2 now as the crowd responds. I thought that was inside.
I think Alleman's reaction was one of the reasons why he's trying to get hit. You could see if the catcher brings it back, if Savic brings it back, which he did with the glove, probably a little bit off the play.
Chased it up. Fouled it back. Probably going to see Pearson at some point out of that LSU pen as well today. You said it before, they're trying to get to Broussard. They would like to get to him in the 9th, but they would go to him in the 8th if necessary. Bregman gloves it, tries to get 2, and Statham is back. So that's out number 1.
Hit it on the screws, just hit it right at Bregman. But I still like the approach. I like letting Aleman swing in that spot. I've been trying to get rid of it as quickly as he can. A good lead by Statham, freezing that line drive, get back as soon as you can. I think that's probably going to be it for Cody Glenn.
It is. Pulmonary out, makes a pitching change. Second pitching change for the Tigers. And Brady Domingue is ready to come in for the 2nd time in this series. Tied at 2, bottom of the 5th. Back in a moment.
Yeah, I'm married. Doesn't matter. You do that for me? Really? Yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to?
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning? Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis.
She sounds hideous.
Well, she's a guy, so.
Another reason more people stay with State Farm. Get to a better state.
The 2014 SEC Symposium will offer solutions to a global, national, and regional challenge. Visit secsymposium.com to learn more about this academic conference on obesity prevention and join the discussion in Atlanta. SECU, the academic initiative of the Southeastern Conference.
Welcome back to College Station and the SEC on ESPN. Clay Matvick, Kyle Peterson here for Game 3 of this series. And don't forget, the SEC Network coming your way August 14th. Over 1,000 exclusive live events, 45 football games, 24/7 coverage of all 21 conference sports. It's going to be a fun fall as the SEC Network comes on the air. All right, Brady Domingue is on out of the LSU pen. He is pitcher number 3 for the Tigers today.
Right now it's just a right-handed matchup with a guy that can sick it and potentially turn a double play. And that's the one thing in talking to Paul Maneri before the ball game. He said Domingue's a guy that can't sink it. He's got a pretty good two-seam fastball. Domingue and Zach Pearson, teammates on the LSU Eunice team last year. Domingue in this spot, ideally trying to get a ground ball as the 2, 3, 4 hitters due up for LSU next. Excuse me, for A&M next. Might be a situation though in this spot. Domingue might only be in for one hitter. Because you do have Pearson, the left-hander, warming up right now.
Yeah.
And you go left, and Langford and Banks to follow.
Interesting thing with Langford and Banks and several of the A&M left-handed hitters is they're very good against left-handed pitching.
Well, I know, and I think sometimes the scouting report, you really have to dive into it. Because just because it's left on left, I mean, those guys are guys that can handle the left-handed breaking ball away, which is why they swing the bat so well against left-handers.
So McClendon up there for A&M, and he takes outside from Domingue. 0 for 2 today. Has a couple of hits in the series. LSU got on the board first with a run in the first inning. A&M answered with a run of their own in the bottom of the first, and now each team has scored here in the 5th. It stays high, so it's 3-0 to McClendon with the big RBI threat, Cole Langford, on deck. And Langford, of course, the hero yesterday with the game-winning run batted in the 9th inning. Walked him. And here comes Langford looking to extend his hitting streak to 9 games. And yep, here comes Pulmonary again. Yep, Domingue faces one batter. It's McClendon. He walks him. And that's all he's going to be asked to do, as Pearson is going to come on for LSU. Pulmonary was kind of joking with us in the dugout before the game, Kyle. It's going to be Johnny Allstaff today, and that's so far what we're seeing.
Well, it is for a lot of teams when they get to the 3rd game of a series, and I think that's the one challenge with LSU this year. They've swung the bats fine. I mean, there's a few guys that maybe you thought would be a little bit higher, but some of the new guys have swung the bat pretty well. We saw Connor Hale just a minute ago give LSU a 2-1 lead with a home run. But the depth on the pitching staff just hasn't been there, and that's been one of the biggest issues for LSU. So now to Pearson, who was teammates with Domingue at LSU Eunice last year. So one from the right side, one from the left side. And I think what you said is important right here too, because even though you go left, you get Langford and Banks coming up next. Their numbers against left-handers have been better against right-handers. So I think the key right now for Pearson, and what that indicates a lot of times, is they're hitting breaking balls away. Probably a little bit more room inside. Let's see how Pearson attacks each coming up.
All right, Cole Langford, who came into the day 7th in the SEC with a .342 average, sent everybody home happy yesterday. At least the A&M fans. There were quite a few LSU fans that made the trip, but this was the game winner in the 9th. Bases loaded. The single to right center. Walk-off and a celebration for the Aggies as they even the series, and a game apiece with that 3-2 win. Langford, said before, has an 8-game hitting streak. Leads the team in just about every significant offensive category. Average slugging, total bases, and runs batted in. And he's got the bases loaded here with 1 out. And it's a tough schedule to finish for Texas A&M. They're at Arkansas for 3. They host Ole Miss. But if they can make hay here down the stretch, they're probably in. Their RPI coming into the day, 37 for Rob Childress's team. How huge would this be, though, today if they can get a win against LSU and take this series against the number 6 team in the country? Well,
I mean, I think it's big. It also gets them back to 12-12 in the league, which, you know, I mean, mentally is a big number back to get back to 500. But I think it's pretty darn important too when everybody else looks at it.
Well, here's a big chance for Langford and A&M to take the lead. They have not had the lead yet today. Look at that average with the bases loaded for Langford, 625. Outfield shaded to right field. It's the left-handed hitter.
Langford this year, 429 with 13 RBIs against left-handers. 429 left on left.
Kendall Rogers is standing by. We're going to be talking with him next inning. Two and out.
Ball. You can hear the crowd hint at anybody from LSU, and you hear it from any opposing pitcher here now yelling ball 7, ball 7. Every time they throw consecutive balls, everybody on their feet.
And Savick is going to go out to talk to Pearson. He's been an effective late inning reliever, even though he did make a start at Florida back in late March. Inherits a very tough situation here. Bases loaded. and the most dynamic offensive threat on the A&M roster at the plate. 2 balls and no strikes to Cole Langford. See if he's taken or has the green light here. The 2-0. Take it all the way, and it's a strike at the knees. 2-1. Base hit gives the Aggies the lead. Swung on, hit to left. Making the catch is Fraley. Runner tags. Here comes Statham to score, and Texas A&M has the lead for the first time today. It's 3-2.
That's why those numbers for Langford are so good left on left, because of an approach like this. I mean, the thought was to take the ball out to left field the entire time. If this slices just a little bit more, probably clears the bases, but Fraley able to get there. He makes the play. No chance to throw the base runner out. Statham scores to give A&M the lead.
41 runs batted in now for Langford, a team high. High fives in the dugout. And the Aggies take the lead here in the 5th. And another lefty at the plate, Nick Banks. A couple of hits today, an RBI double in the 1st and a single in the 4th. And it stays in. 1 ball and no strikes. Pearson, the 4th pitcher today for LSU. And Nate Fury now warming up in the LSU pen, a right-hander. To left center field. Slicing away from Stevenson, but his speed tracks it down in the gap. And A&M is done here in the 5th, but they put a crooked number up and take the lead 3-2. We're going to talk to Kendall Rogers from PerfectGame.org next.
Life can hit you with the unexpected, leaving you feeling helpless. You don't have to lose your home. It's time to take control. The NFCC is a nonprofit organization that has been providing quality financial counseling and education for 60 years. Seek advice from our certified housing counselors today. Call us or visit mortgagehelpnow.org. Real solutions for real people.
From the many employees living and working in this area to the way we support local charities and organizations, Southern really does have a special bond with Brian.
We're committed to bringing our neighbors the fastest internet, most advanced HGTV, and unlimited home phone, all backed by our We Promise guarantee.
Enjoying the latest technology and the best customer service is easy. Just choose Suddenlink.
Suddenlink, you're connected.
All right, we go to the 6th inning. Texas A&M leading for the first time today over number 6 LSU in the deciding game of the series. It's now 3-2 as we welcome in Kendall Rogers, managing editor of college baseball for PerfectGame.org, one of the better college baseball writers in the country, joining us up here in the booth. Good to see you. And
yeah, good to see you guys.
It's going to be fun talking college baseball with you for the next several minutes.
Yeah, it's been a fun weekend. Obviously, the Friday game here, and then Saturday I went to see UCF, a Houston UCF, a rising team. Obviously, U of H having a good year, and saw a home run to tie it and a walk-off to win it. So I'm expecting a wild finish here today, too.
And this is the best time of year for a guy like you. And you're back in your old stomping grounds because you're an Aggie after.
Yeah, I went to school here, and you know, Rob's done a nice job of getting in the postseason over the last 6-7 years, and it'll be interesting to see how the season ends. I think when you look at the SEC overall, I mean, this is a year where I think this league has a legitimate chance to get 10 or 11 bids when you look at this conference top to bottom.
Bregman hustles down to first, but he's out number 1 here of the 6th. So 1 down for LSU as McMullen comes up. We're talking with Kendall Rogers from PerfectGame.org.
I heard you say that earlier this week, which is pretty amazing when you consider that nobody's ever had more than 9 teams in the SEC.
Yeah.
I think has done it 4 different times. But Why do you think it's different this year? Why do you think the SEC potentially gets 10 or 11?
I think it's big. I think when we look at Tennessee, I mean, Tennessee was a team last year that obviously was not very good. Dave Serrano's done a nice job. They come back after that game you guys saw the other night and win 2 against Kentucky to win the series. So they're kind of back in the mix. They already had a high RPI. And then you look at even Georgia. Georgia has a lead late over South Carolina. If Georgia wins that series, all of a sudden you got to start talking about Georgia again. And then, of course, there's Auburn, who wasn't great last year. And Auburn's in that discussion as well, although they're not helping themselves too much this weekend.
Who's a national seed from the SEC and who hosts?
I think, well, going into today, I thought South Carolina was in great shape. But obviously, if they lose a series to Georgia, that kind of changes things a little bit. Florida is a team that I've been so impressed with. When I saw Florida here in College Station a few weeks ago, I didn't think they looked that great, but they've played outstanding baseball the last 2 or 3 weeks.
It's a deep center off the bat of McMullen in front of the warning track. Ratson makes the catch, so there are 2 down. That brings up Fraley. Now here are your regional hosts from the SEC.
Yeah,
you think at 5?
Yeah, you know, what's interesting, I think you could see a situation, especially if LSU was to lose today, I think you could see a situation where that series between LSU and Alabama could very well determine a host spot. Because you think about it, you have Lafayette, Louisiana Lafayette as a potential host. You've got Houston and Rice as potential hosts. And then you've got TCU up in Fort Worth as potential hosts. So that's a lot of teams in the same region that you could send a lot of those schools to.
Think about Louisiana Lafayette and LSU playing for
a super
chance
regional
to go to Omaha.
That'd be great.
I mean, it would be. And if you'd seen Lafayette, which it looks like Lafayette's going to be a national seed, I mean, the setting for that thing would be unbelievable.
That would be great for the state of Louisiana. And the state of Texas is finally back to where we would expect the state of Texas to be.
Last year was the first time since '95 that the state of Texas did not get a host site. This year, that's obviously going to change. I think earlier in the year, Texas was in the mix for a host spot, but Texas has kind of scuffled here the last few weeks. So I think you're going to see a situation where you could see like Texas go to Houston or A&M go to Rice, and you could have Texas and A&M both down in Houston the same weekend. So that makes for some exciting regionals.
That's an infield hit for Fraley off the leg of Long. It looks like he's going to be okay as Civic comes up. Now here is the state of Texas in the RPI top 40. Rice leading the way.
Yeah, I think the big thing about Rice is, I mean, even losing Zach Lamont and Jordan Stevens, their pitching's really been outstanding the last couple of weeks. Kevin McCann has been outstanding. They've got some young arms. John Duplanche has been outstanding. Fastball's been up to 93, 94, according to Coach Graham. So they've had some guys step up. I think the team to watch down the stretch is TCU. I mean, you're talking about a team that their pitching has been phenomenal over the last month of the season. Brandon Fittigan, obviously their leader and a guy that'll be a high first-round pick. But Preston Morrison, I call him the right-handed Michael Roth. He doesn't throw hard, but I mean he has excellent command of the strike zone, and he's been a shutout king this year.
Civic is at the plate now for LSU. A ball and a strike, 2 outs. Man at first is Fraley. 3-2 Texas A&M as we continue to talk college baseball as the calendar has turned to May and things are getting really interesting with Kendall Rogers from perfectgame.org. He's the managing editor. This is fouled back.
We had a chance to talk to some on the selection committee a few weeks ago, and I thought it was interesting. They were talking about RPI, and obviously there figures into it last 15. To me, Oklahoma State is a really interesting look right now because the RPI isn't there, but yet they're leading the Big 12, which is the second-rated RPI league in the country. I mean, do you think they end up hosting?
I think they would. I think right now, I didn't have them in this week because their RPI was too low, but going into the day, their RPI was in the 30s. Assuming they take care of business the rest of the way, their RPI would probably be somewhere in the 20s. And I think when you look at their conference record, they win the Big 12. To me, that's enough. I don't need your RPI to be 18 if you won the Big 12. So, and the Big 12 is better this year.
I agree with you. I mean, I think they absolutely should. I just think it's one of those, it's interesting when you look at, what they've done against the RPI top 15, all those different things, and yet the RPI number still isn't there. But the eye test is definitely there. And I think the resume's there. I think they absolutely should host.
Swung on and missed, and that does it. Grayson Long showing some emotion as he gets the strikeout and heads back to the Texas A&M dugout. He has worked 6 strong, and he leaves the field. Texas A&M hanging on to that 3-2 lead. We're back with Kendall Rogers. We're going to talk more college baseball after this timeout.
At Golden Corral, we love seniors. Right now, our early bird special is just $7.49, drink included. You heard that right. Choose from all the delicious food you love, and your drink is included for just $7.49. It's appetizers, farm fresh vegetables, entrees like our slow roasted pot roast, our famous meatloaf, and more. Not to mention our new and improved Las Vegas style mini desserts. It's the 749 Early Bird Special. It's just for seniors, and it's only at Golden Corral.
Bottom of the 6th inning we go. Texas A&M ready to hit again, leading 3-2 over number 6 LSU as we continue to chat with Kendall Rogers from perfectgame.org. And Kendall, there's always a surprise team that makes a big splash once the national tournament starts. Is there anybody out there that you're looking at and saying, you know what, that's a team that could get to Omaha?
Yeah, I think when you look around the country, I know they lost a series to Long Beach State, but I think Cal Poly is a really intriguing club. You know, obviously, you know, you look at their lack of offensive production last weekend, and that's kind of concerning. But, you know, Larry Lee's really done a nice job with him this year. Matt Imhoff, their Friday guy, will be a first-round pick. And they've got a stable rotation. Their offense, for the most part, this year has been outstanding. And they're a team I would take a look at in the postseason. The real interesting thing about that Big West is, you know, Cal State Fullerton losing that Long Beach State series, they may miss the whole postseason. So it's a tough situation out there at Fullerton right now.
And they continue to miss their head coach, who's been suspended. Burke, Stein, and Gideon to hit here for Texas A&M. I know you like the Liberty Flames.
Yeah, I do. I'm one of those people, and I think Kyle is too in the way he's talked in the past. But, you know, I'm always about the growth of college baseball. And I think when you look at Coastal Carolina, the Big South, when they hosted a couple of times, I thought that was great for the sport. And I think when you look at mid-major this year that could host, I think you look at Liberty. I think you look at the fact that they've been so consistent. You know, their non-conference RPI is not that bad. But they've got a big midweek game against Virginia still left on the schedule. So I think if they can take that, finish strong in their conference, I think they've got a legitimate chance to host. And also, a lot of people would assume that a mid-major school like that would have a great facility, but Liberty's facility is outstanding.
Yeah, I think it would just be cool to get more attention on Jim Toman too.
Oh yeah, Jim
Toman.
I mean, yeah, you look at his resume. He was great at South Carolina.
Yeah.
Ray Tanner, can't say enough good things about him, and he's really done a great job.
Ooh, that hit Ryan Burke, and it hit him in the face, it appears. And he's going to take his base. Appears he's going to stay in the game, but that was scary. Here's another look as Ryan Burke has to shake the cobwebs out after this one.
Well, that's why you teach kids at a really young age to spin away from the baseball that way. Try to get that ear flap in there and the helmet in there as much as he can. He ducked down, and I think it looked like it clipped a little bit of his face on the way by, but hopefully he got a lot of that helmet first.
And that's going to be the last pitch thrown by Pearson as Nate Fury is going to be called out of the LSU bullpen. The training staff out to check on Burke to make sure that he didn't get scrambled.
Look at his cheek. I mean, it might have got a little bit of the ear flap, but it got plenty of the cheek on the way by.
The leadoff hitter is on for Texas A&M here in the 6th, leading 3-2. Paul Maneri has made another pitching change. This will be the 4th reliever of the day. Fury coming up. All right, Kendall, let's continue to chat about college baseball. We're going to talk about the draft in a little bit, but it appears for the 2nd year in a row that the defending national champion is not going to make the national tournament. Right now, it is an uphill climb for UCLA. Something dramatic would have to happen for the Bruins for them to get in.
It's been a perfect storm of bad things for UCLA this year. I mean, their RPI's in the hundreds. They've had all sorts of injuries starting the year. Hunter Brandt was out for the year, and they've just had a lot of injuries. And that's, you know, when you have injuries like that, that's why, you know, it's hard to get kind of consistency going. I think the thing about South Carolina that's impressed me is they've had so many injuries lately, and they've been able to keep it together. That's not easy. Look at UCLA. So UCLA and Arizona, the last 2 national champions, not playing very well.
Yeah, I mean, I think South Carolina's had their starting offensive lineup 1 out of 24 SEC games so far.
Yeah, and they just lost a guy last week to a blood clot. So it's been a tough year for John Savage and company, but I have a feeling they'll get it back together.
Saw Oregon State last week against Oregon, and Beavers were very impressive. That's a team that not only can pitch, but they can score.
Yeah, you know, I like Virginia #1 right now, but if there's a team I think could win the national championship besides Virginia, I think it's Oregon State. I think you look at their leadership, getting a guy like Ben Wetzler back this year. Jace Fry's been outstanding in their Saturday role, and they've got just enough offense. Dylan Davis, Michael Conforto, both those guys, dangerous hitters, and so they've got it all. Like Virginia, they're very balanced overall.
You were here for Friday night's game where Aaron Nola took the mound for LSU, didn't get the win. It was another no decision for him. He's kind of had some bad luck recently with those. Nothing to show for his efforts, but it was a terrific performance. And with the draft coming up, where do you suspect he will go?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I was talking to a couple of scouts the other day, and they were saying they didn't think there's any way possible that he gets out of the top 6 picks, which was pretty interesting. But I think the big thing about Aaron is you look at him overall. He's got a good fastball. It's a free and easy fastball. I mean, it looks like he's throwing 88. His curveball the other night was about as plus as it gets, and his overall demeanor I like a lot. He's got great makeup. So if I'm a major league team, I don't have a problem with him being a top 5 guy. I love him.
Troy Stein swings at the first pitch and sends it foul. A&M has had the leadoff man in 5 of the 6 innings today. Burke is at first. They've got the 1-run lead, nobody out here in the 6th inning.
Give me somebody off the board a little bit that you think, if things align, could make a run to Omaha.
I think when you look around the country, I think you look out of the ACC. There's some teams there in the middle of the mix. I'll give you a really off-the-wall team. They can get to the postseason and have the pitching to shake some things up. Is Duke.
Yeah.
People will never think about Duke, but you have Michael Matuella, who's done a nice job for them, and overall they've got some pretty good pitching. So I'm always one of those postseason pitching guys. And if you're looking for a completely off the board team, and maybe they can somehow get to a regional, and people are like, hey, how'd they get to a regional? That would be kind of a team. They've got some nice wins this year.
The last couple of years, last few years, pitching and defense has been the story in Omaha. Is that going to change this year, guys?
I don't think so.
No.
And I think we'll probably talk about it 100 times between now and then to June. So.
Swung out and fouled back, well out of KP's reach.
It's really interesting from a prospect standpoint to kind of see the top 5 guys in college right now. Carlos Rodon is a guy that before the season, everybody just assumed the Astros were going to take him. He's been back to his old ways the last couple of weeks, but there's been some uncertainty about him overall. But Jeff Hoffman, he's a guy I've liked a lot too. I saw him a few weeks ago at Rice, and he had big time stuff. He was 98 in the 8th inning, and he's another guy to keep an eye on for that #1 spot as well, though it's not looking like he'll be in that spot at this point.
Stein strikes out. That's out #1. That'll bring him Giddy.
You and I were going back and forth on text yesterday, and one of the things that's been discussed by coaches and I think, up to the ABCA is the potential of changing the way the postseason works. And I like the idea of going to weekend series, the 3-gamers, just because that's that's the way your teams are built. It's being discussed about more, but where do you think that is in the process?
I think there's still a ways to go before we get to that point. There's probably some more important issues to the NCAA right now, such as the ball. But overall, I think it needs to be on the board. I like the regional format. I do, but I think the 3-3-3 format is better. I'm one of those people in college football. At the end of the year, you don't go play a 3-game football, three games of football to decide who moves on to playoffs. So in baseball, to me, if everything's about a 3-game series in the weekend, and that's your main determinant on who gets to the postseason, that's how things should be throughout the postseason.
The other thing I like about that idea is I think that it doesn't stress a pitching staff as much as a regional does right now. Because if you're a team that has to come back to the losers bracket of the regional, there's a lot of times to where from a coaching standpoint, you're either running out of arms, maybe you're tempted to do some things and get guys in there that you otherwise wouldn't. And I think if you had a normal 3-game weekend series, that changes that because you're set up the normal ways you would over a week.
Hey, Kyle, here's a perfect example, and I think you were there too. A couple of years ago, you guys had the Coral Gables regional, and A&M had to throw Stilson back out there because they didn't have anybody else left, so they had to throw Stilson out there back on short rest. So
that was when they had Walker.
Yeah, that was one way to kind of look at it.
The 0-2 to Gideon. And he lofts this into foul ground. Given chase here is Moore, the first baseman, and he's going to run out of room. We're talking with Kendall Rogers from PerfectGame.org. He's the college baseball managing editor, and this is your time of the year. This is where the rubber meets the road, and you're bouncing around. I know this is your home territory right here, but you're doing a lot of traveling right now.
Yeah,
seeing as many teams
last
as you
weekend
can.
I was at Virginia at Florida State, and I went to the West Coast about a week and a half to start the year, and look forward to the SEC tournament here in a few weeks. So a lot of traveling, but as always, it's a lot of fun, and it's great to go with the coaches and players in the sport.
1 and 2 here to Gideon.
We were talking about that, and I don't know how many other sports that you've covered, but obviously, I mean, you've been entrenched in this for 10 years now. The coaches in this sport are unbelievable to work with. And Clay and I were talking about in the air earlier today, just how we can go down before a game and have conversations with coaches that there's no way you could have in other sports. I think it's awesome.
No, it really is. I could probably count with one hand how many times I've called a coach in the sport, a head coach, and gotten information that didn't check out. So it really is. It's a special deal, and it's been great to see it grow. It's kind of funny. When I was a kid, the way I got hooked on the sport was my parents brought me out to games here back in the early 90s, back when Kyle was a young buck probably, back when A&M was really good back then. So I got hooked on it then, and a lot of the coaches and players, they help you keep you hooked on it.
Jay Statham comes to the plate after the single by Gideon. So 2 on, 1 out for Texas A&M as they try to add to their 3-2 lead. Yeah, back in the day, 25 years ago, the only college baseball on during the year was on ESPN during the College World Series, and it has just exploded, not only in our network but other ones. And we're really proud to be able to bring you as much college baseball now as we do, and it has helped grow the game.
What's kind of funny is people around here still talk about back when ESPN came here to televise Robbie Ventura and Oklahoma State coming into A&M back in '89. That was a pretty good Oklahoma State team with Incaviglia and Robbie Ventura. It's not a bad
Ferris.
Oh, man.
Brad Bean Blossom at second base.
I want to say that was the year that LSU and Texas A&M had a tremendous NCAA
Yeah, don't tell anybody around here about that.
LSU kind of stole on that year, 1989, right?
Hey, that LSU team had Curtis Liscanic, Paul Bird.
Played with Curtis Liscanic.
Ben.
He played with everybody. 2-0 pitch. There's a strike on the outside corner to Jay Statham, the 8-hole hitter.
Here's a team I'll tell you to keep an eye on if they can win their conference automatic bid, especially in the first game, is Hartford. Sean Newcomb is their ace pitcher. Yeah. Sean Newcomb is a guy that's been 93, 95 all year with big-time stuff. He's going to be a first-round pick. And if you're a team out there that's going to be a 1 seed in regional, you do not want Hartford in your regional, especially in that first game.
2 balls and a strike to Statham. And now 3-1. And we've talked about this throughout the broadcast today, Kendall. Paul Maneri's in a situation today where it's piecemeal, and he said if we have to bring Fury out, we might be in a little trouble because it gives you an idea of where my pen is at.
Yeah, the really interesting thing about LSU this year is you look at them overall. Last year, LSU had a lot of kind of a lot of star power guys like Mason Katz, but they've really, in my opinion, kind of overachieved a little bit this year. They don't really have that overwhelming quality about them. They just seem to get the job done.
I agree. We were talking about it yesterday, too. I think that Paul's got the absolute most out of what he has.
No question.
And if they had a few more arms, LSU would be really dangerous. And I know that's what they've been going after really aggressively in recruiting.
Well, here's a guy, too. I mean, Cody Glenn, he was a guy last year that was a very reliable starting pitcher. And things just haven't been the same since he kind of ran into a little trouble in that regional last year.
Yeah, velocity's dipped a little bit for him, and that's been a big difference. The OPI of LSU, 16 coming into this one. So right on that edge of a hosted discussion.
So Bratson comes up with the bases loaded. The first pitch to him sails high, and going out to talk is Cade Savick. Hey, Kendall, thank you so much for coming up and chatting with us.
Good having you, man. Enjoyed it.
Kendall Rogers.
See you at Hoover in a few weeks.
Oh, yeah.
From perfectgame.org, the managing editor of college baseball for that tremendous website that covers college baseball about as good as anybody. Big situation here. Texas A&M leading by a run. They've got the bases loaded in the bottom of the 6th and just 1 out. And LSU going through pitchers like crazy right now. Fury on, pitch, lifted into short right field. Coming over toward the line is Laird. He calls for it, makes the catch. Runner tags from third, but Ryan Burke is not going to be able to advance. That's a big out for Fury. And LSU 2 down.
get the bases loaded, 1 out. If you can get out of this thing and still have it as a 1-run game. That's Fury really doing his job.
And I didn't mean to sound condescending about Fury. It's not that he is a bad option out of the pen. It's just I don't think Palmineri had plans on using him today. He kind of said if we had to use him, we'll give you an idea of where my staff was at that point in the game.